Hello, hello, hello. Um, Great to see you all. Thank you so much for checking in. Oh my goodness, day one. Um, Day one, Manenos. Still
Settling
figuring out
down.
the technology, settling down.
Yeah.
I hope you can hear us. Please, if you can, just tell us where you are. Let us know if you can hear us. I hope we're not talking to ourselves. But just if you can hear us, tell us where you're watching from. Tell us how long you've been married. And if not, then tell us when you hope to get married or not. But yeah, just tell us who you are, where you're watching from, and how long you've been married. We'd love to know. And it's so great to see so many of you already on.
Yeah, there's a Diane who's waving and she's saying hello. Then we have Julius who's all the way from Barara, Uganda.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Diane
We're
says,
international day one. Like that's how we roll.
Diane
I love
says
it.
we are loud and clear. Sarah Mumo, welcome. Just tell us where you're coming from.
Oh, guess what? Mongare from Abu Dhabi.
Oh, wow.
I thought we were international because we're in Uganda, but apparently that was not international enough. Now we've got somebody from Abu Dhabi. I love it. Ken Bonyo says, I can hear you, not married yet.
Oh, great.
Ken, by the
Good
way.
for you.
Anyway, let me not ask you what your relatives ask you. Walini. Anyway, Ken's a good buddy of ours, and I know that we've got plans for his life. Enoch says, we can hear you from Upper Matasia. Come on.
Oh, great.
Don't joke.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Sarah has said she's from Lower Kabete. She's married 3 years this October. So happy
wow.
anniversary.
This is her month, yeah.
This is
That's,
your
I
month.
love it. Revealed Evangelical Commission. Berlin.
Yes.
So I think Berlin and Abu Dhabi, I mean, pretty much tied for distance. It's
Reveal
great
has
to have
actually
you.
been very faithful. I mean,
Absolutely.
she was watching from quite a while.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for just continuing to connect with us.
Yeah, we have someone here. Let me see. Oh dear, have I lost them? I had somebody here. Patrick Miandi from Kanyama Ranch. I wonder where that is. I actually don't know. Maybe you can tell us exactly
What
where
country?
that is.
What country that is?
Country? You know, we're not so sure.
Enoch, hey, he says married 11 years, and then Carol Destiny Athiriva 11 years. They've
Great.
They're tied for that.
Okay.
That's like
great.
11 years ancient, you know. Those are
Yeah.
like people who've been married for a long time.
Yeah, Faith Kargat from Nairobi, married 9 years. Congratulations. I mean, staying married, I mean, that's quite something for 9 years. It's something to really celebrate and to thank God for. Alice Muhinga is Yokimau, 18 years.
I know Alice.
Yeah, you're about to get out. One more year, you're out of the teenage years of marriage.
Whoa, that's like ancient.
Yeah.
Kevin Orwa tuning in from South Sea, planning to get married soon. Woo!
Yeah.
Kevin, have you got a wife yet, or you just have this 2020 resolution? I love it. But this is awesome. Planning to get married soon, and it's just really good to see that faith. I love it.
Yeah, we have Kipruto Lynn Kipruto, tuned in from Eldoret, been happily married for 7 years. Karibu sana, Lynn from
And you know,
Eldoret.
by the way, by the time you're happily married for 7 years,
Yeah.
like you know what happens at 7 years, huh?
Yes, there's a 7-year each.
So if you're happily married 7 years later,
yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Mwenga Mongare says from Abu Dhabi, capital of UAE. He says married 8 years,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah. I have here Milton Jumba watching from Mars.
Mars, where is Mars?
Men are from Mars.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Got you, yeah.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting, yeah.
I've got Lillian who says 13 years, loving it every day. In it 13 years, loving it every day, we share. That's so good. That's so good.
That is amazing. Then we have here Agnes Mwema, Athi Riva, married 13 years.
I love it.
Yeah.
Chege Gazemba says married 4 years. Do you remember where we were 4 years after we got married?
Oh, it wasn't a good place.
That's a good story for another time. By the way, we're going to tell you our story. Like
Yeah,
by
we
5
are
years,
not-
we almost left each other.
Yeah.
So if you're at the place where you've gotten fed up with your spouse, don't give up. Don't give up. I really believe that there's a reason why God put you together. And if we're together here and God is using us and blessing many other people, I believe He's
Yeah.
going to do it through you as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And Steve Kilu says, Buruburu, 7 years. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So quite a few people
Quite a
tuning
few
in.
people,
It's so
yeah.
good to see you.
Keep
Please
them
tag a
coming.
friend.
Yeah.
If you know somebody who's married, who's in the space where this is going to be useful, helpful for them, let them know. We are so happy to just be in a space. One of the things that God has been putting in our hearts is just how can we be more intentional about mentoring couples, and helping couples mentor couples. Because one of the things we find is people just don't have models of marriages that work. And so we just made a commitment that we're going to mentor couples who mentor couples. And so we're glad you're in here. This is going to be fun. This is our first.
Yeah, together. Isn't that nice? I'm
So this was actually
excited.
Carol's show, and then she invited me, and so I hope I don't take it
Yes.
over.
No, I don't think you
Like,
will.
I've really been trying to be careful. You know, it was Ndoa with Pastor Carol.
Yes.
So I've been trying to go Ndoa with Carol and Muriithi, but the instinct is for me to write Ndoa with Muriithi and Carol.
No, it doesn't
Like,
really
like
matter.
just take over your space.
No, I don't think it really matters, and I'm really thankful that you have decided to join me permanently and to have the male perspective, which is a must. So I'm really thankful that we have a male perspective.
Season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
You did
I'm
season
so
1 all by yourself. You did a
thankful.
fantastic job, by the way. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
really got some good reviews, and people are really excited about it.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm excited to be here with you, and can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight. So the first thing I guess I get to ask you is, what's your high from this last week?
Okay, my high from this past week is really family time. It's in a weird sort of a way, and I hope, but I'm really thankful. I think just a couple of weeks ago we lost your sister, which was
that was painful.
it was a very painful thing. And I remember at that time praying that God would do something new in our family, and just to see that newness, to see us coming together with the siblings and having conversations. I think this last Sunday when we actually got to go, to his parents' place and watch a Sunday service together, worship together. That was really special. And then discuss the sermon that was being preached, which was on
By
family
Pastor Ndachi,
business by
actually,
Pastor Ndachi, which was on family business. And we actually got to share what is it that we can do. I mean, it got us thinking, what can we do as a family to help us economically. So I was so excited about that. That's God answering prayers, even in the middle of a difficult time.
It's a good high.
Yeah, that's my high. Yeah, how about you?
Now you've shared yours. I mean, why do you have to be so deep? Because I'm
I
thinking
know,
mine
I
is so
don't
shallow
like-
now
it's okay,
afterwards. Huh?
it's
Like,
okay.
okay, so me, my high, as you know, is
Is
working with my bees.
yes.
Yeah. So I've got a hobby, and for those who know me well, they know that this is my newest thing. I get a hobby like once once every, would you say like every 2 years?
I don't
Like
know if it's
something I
every 2
really get
years.
obsessed
All
about.
I know is that when you start a hobby, we dip into our pockets.
It's like, yeah, I know my
Yeah,
hobby is
we
expensive.
actually have to
But
spend
they end up
money.
making money for you eventually.
Yes, they do.
So-
And I'm praying this one is no different.
So right now, I guess this was my COVID hustle, and the story about it is, I planned because I turned 50 this year, and
Yes.
I'd been planning since I turned 40. And remember,
Yeah.
I turned 40. I really wanted to throw a big party to do something big, and then I was traveling, work came in, ministry, all that stuff. So I missed my 40th birthday. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And I was so
sad.
disappointed that I said my 50th. I'm going big.
Yeah.
And I started saving at 40 for my 50th birthday. So
Yeah.
we saved up, and the whole plan was we're going to Europe
Yeah.
to celebrate. We even booked. We had like 7 cities in 3 weeks.
In fact, we said the whole year was a celebration of
It was
the
like a
50th.
huge,
Oh,
huge
wow.
birthday party. I mean, it was interesting. I was in Nigeria. We had a big celebration with the
birthday.
church I was speaking in, and that was like the launch of my birthday year.
Yes.
And then COVID came.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't go to Europe. And so I got stuck in the house with COVID.
Yeah.
And then God gave me a divine idea. I put all the Europe money into starting a bee business.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with bees. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it's not even a business. I just love to
Actually,
hang
you
out.
fell in love with bees. In fact,
Are you going
they
to say?
are competition.
they
Yeah,
become
they
competition?
become
Ah,
competition
watch
at some
away.
point. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I do, and I love it. I just
Yeah.
love being with my bees. So I hadn't been with my bees because of a funeral and everything for a couple of weeks.
He gets like bee fever,
I
you
get
know, and
bee
he
fever.
doesn't. Yeah. so it's-
Anybody who's a beekeeper out there, come on, hit me up. You know what I'm talking about. But it's just something you can't explain it to people who don't know anything about bees.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So, what I would say is that as we are having this conversation, please just write what are your highs, what are your lows. In this past week, you can even put an emoji to just say, what was your day like, what was your week like, and we're going to be sharing that as we get along.
I love it.
Yeah.
So hey, we've got a mystery guest, and every week we're going to have a mystery guest. And the guest is going to come in and just share with us. They're going to be somebody who is going to be a couple who got married just like us, and they have some experience. And by the way, everybody who's married has experience. Even if you've been married for 5 days, you have more experience than somebody who's not married right now. So we're going to be just calling ordinary couples some of them doing extraordinary things, and it's just like, let's talk. Let's just have a chat and let's walk through some of the stuff we're learning together. So
Yeah.
our mystery couple, let me see, are they in the room?
Yes,
Let me
they
just
are.
see if I
Let's
can
just
get
see if
them
we can
in.
admit them. Yep.
There you
they
go.
are. Our mystery
Let's
couple.
see if they're there. 5, 4. Okay, they're joining on
They're
Zoom.
joining.
There they go.
There they
Oh,
go.
look at that picture.
Looks
Oh my
fantastic.
goodness, they look so amazing.
Yeah.
So this couple are the founder of a ministry called For Keeps, and there they are. You even look better in real life than your picture. Great to see you guys. Sasa, how you guys doing?
Hi, how you guys doing?
Very good. So this is Tony and Vero.
Veronica.
Veronica, we call her Vero.
Yeah.
And they've become buddies. You know, like we once met in a, I don't even know. I think we met one day. We were doing a speaking thing in Karura, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
Yeah, and I mean, we just connected. We started talking, and from then on, we just bonded like this. And we've done so many things together. They run a great ministry called For Keeps, and
It's a marriage ministry.
a marriage ministry, and
Yeah.
they do premarital counseling and just marriage counseling. They also do a ministry for dads and boys and sons, and among many other things.
Yeah.
These guys are just a highly talented and passionate couple. And then, so tell us a bit about yourself. Like, how long have you guys been married, by the way?
9 years.
I should have asked Tony just to see that he knows.
Yeah, it's nice.
Sorry?
I
We
should
do
have
have
asked
things
you.
to answer.
Okay, Tony, how old are your kids, Tony?
But you don't have to do this. I'm already on the spot.
Okay. So, how many kids? How many kids? At least that one you know.
That one I know. so we have a boy. He's 8.
Oh my goodness. Fancy. He's 7 years old.
Okay.
Good.
Good try. It's just a year off.
And then we have a daughter. Her name is Sandy, and
She's 2.5 years.
yes.
Well done. Now you've learned how to ask the question. You say she's so awesome. So we're going to ask you a few questions just to get to know you before we get into the dilemmas. We're going to be tackling some dilemmas, marriage dilemmas that people have been sending in the whole day, by the way. And so firstly, and this one you can only take a minute, and we're going to start with Tony, and then we'll come to Vero. Tony, in 1 minute, how you met?
Okay. So I was looking for a video game,
A PlayStation.
a PlayStation video
No,
game.
Vero, don't worry, your time is coming. Let him talk.
Yeah, and so someone hooked me up where I could get it, and I found her where I was meant to collect the game. So that's how I met her.
Okay. How about for you, Veronica?
Only a guy can tell
Only
a story
so summarized.
like
Oh
so
my
summarized.
goodness.
And like there's no meat, no juice.
Well,
right,
I'm
okay,
giving you a summary of a summary.
all right.
Okay, Vero, let's hear your side.
So he wanted a PlayStation, and then his brother-in-law happened to be my friend. So he asked for me. He asked if I knew a person who could sell one
Check the
for
door.
him. And then I told him my brother was selling a PlayStation, so I became a broker and earned a couple of cash money.
He actually got some
So-
money before he even met
Oh
her.
wow! So he bought stuff from you first,
Yes.
and then after that he saw something more than money could buy.
Yeah. I
And then he kept demanding for the receipts, which we never had the receipts back then.
so that gave me an excuse to want to talk to her more. So, and I guess she's here now.
She entered the box.
The rest
Okay,
is
the rest, as they say, is history. Now, for Veronica, just very briefly, what did your dad think about Tony?
It's a really tough question. My dad and my mom are separated. So honestly, there wasn't much to think about it. Yeah. But I think the first day I told him that I wanted to get married, I introduced him to Tony. And actually he liked him. He blessed us. He gave us his dad's blessing.
Okay, that's an easy one. Tony,
Yeah.
something about Vero that drives you absolutely crazy.
Okay. Well, I think she's very particular. She that drives me crazy. Sorry, just thinking about it even right now. she's, she's very particular about things, and she wants things done perfectly. And I'm the exact opposite. I don't know what perfect is. I mean, I don't have that in my dictionary. And so I think that drives me nuts. Because she always wants things done. It's either her way or the highway.
So is it like your room has to be a certain way, your clothes have to be a certain way? Like
No, about probably if you're visiting someone, we have to do this. We have to call them first for a plan for 3 weeks in advance. I don't know. We don't have random things, and I like random things once in a while.
The bed.
Yeah, I mean, she just said it. If it's just doing the bed, whoa, we'll spend there for like 3 hours.
it has to be
I
done
almost-
neatly.
I'll probably bring a spirit level just to make sure everything is and
It's
that
opposite.
pisses me off, man.
Opposites attract.
Opposites
Clearly,
attract.
this happened for you guys.
Okay. All right. So, Veronica, who is the hoarder and who is the spender?
Wow, he's a spender. I won't say I'm the hoarder, but somehow I know how to save. I really know how to save.
Oh, wow.
Give us an example. Give us an example of that shows that he's a spender and you're the saver.
Like anytime he will see something, he's easy to say, let's just buy. For me, let's think, let's plan for it, let's save a bit. Like I think everything in our house, we've never bought it random. We always save for it.
Wow.
And like him, he will just do something, and you know what?
And everything I had before I met her, I bought randomly. Like I could see it and just buy.
And it
And now
worked.
everything is planned. Yeah, it just works.
And it worked.
somehow.
That's so funny. Well, thank you so much. That's called rapid fire, and you guys have done fantastically.
Thank
Well
you,
done.
guys. Thank
Well
you
done.
so
Well done. We really appreciate your questions. So this is awesome. And today we're going to be talking. We're going to be dealing with some dilemmas. Basically, what happens is, and for the couples who are watching, anybody who's watching, we have what we call the Ndoa couples community, and we'll put a link there that if you want to join. And basically what we do is it's a mentoring space. It's a space where we spend time together, we're able to raise issues, we're able to pass on informational content that will help you grow in your marriage. And so today we have what we just had a day when people just shared dilemmas. We open up, we had a group called Asking for a Friend. And it's basically just people asking for a friend or for themselves. Just what are some of the things that people are going through in marriage right now? And so we want to just tackle a few of them.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll go first.
Okay.
So earlier today we had somebody sharing one, and let me just start with this one, which I thought was quite interesting. This person said the issue is about adding value. I think her name is Rispa. She said, I'm more, let's see.
Of a stay-home mom.
I'm more of a stay-home mom with a small retail business. I would love to know how I can bring more to the table and how to add value to my husband, because honestly, sometimes I feel useless. I desire to be that woman they talk about behind every successful man. There's a strong woman. But how do I stop being completely dependent on him? And then also, so she had two questions. One, I want to add value, but number two, I feel like I'm completely dependent. I want to stop being completely dependent on him. Okay. So let me just ask, this one I think the ladies are the ones who are going to tackle. So maybe Carol, you've been a stay-home mom.
Yes.
At one part of our career, one part of our lives.
Yeah.
So maybe just speak to the person who
I
asked
can
that
speak into
question.
this, but I think we're also said if people have their own responses, if you're a stay-home mom right now, if you identify even with this dilemma, go ahead and put your own comment. Would just love to hear your views as well. But I must say, yes, there's one time in our lives when I was a stay-at-home, and what I realized is that in fact the people who were bringing me stress at that time were my family. And later on we resolved this, but my mom was like, what do you mean?
Can't be.
It can't be. I didn't raise you. I didn't raise you to stay at home. You didn't go to school to stay at home. And interestingly, my dad is the one who defended me, and he said, no, let her stay at home and let her raise her children.
Yeah.
And so I know it was such a conflicting time for me to stay at home, but I think what helped was to see other women who are older than me who had stayed at home, and just to see how that panned out. And one of the greatest values that I saw was just the quality of children. You know, when you're home and you're deliberate about the way that you're parenting, your children are a class above every other child. And I remember with one of our mentors, their children were so well raised. They were so intentionally raised. In fact, they were raised to be leaders. And so the family ended getting a discount for school fees.
Almost a full scholarship.
Almost a school, because the school was like, your children are so valuable. You cannot withdraw them, because the family had said, we cannot afford these school fees, we want to withdraw them. And the school was like, no, we're going to make it work. Your children must continue being. And that was as a result of, just that intentional parenting. So I came to realize that the value there is just absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you tell this person? Because she's feeling, I'm home, I feel useless,
Yeah.
I feel not valued, I feel I should be in the corporate world.
Yeah,
I did a chat with her on the side, and one thing she said is she felt like she had left the corporate world. So
Wow.
it was almost like a feeling like, man, I should be playing at a different level right now, but I'm not.
Yeah, I would say yes, there's going to be a struggle, because you're going to see your friends moving on the corporate ladder. You're going to see, people gaining respect out there. So the struggle is real, but I would say hang on. What you're doing is completely invaluable. What you're doing with your family, in fact, your peers are later on going to look at you and wonder, oh my goodness, you sacrificed, and it was well worth the sacrifice. So I just say, hold on.
You tell her.
I'll just tell her, hold on.
So Vero, what do you say? Because she's feeling invalidated, she's feeling like I don't value as much. How can she bring value? Because also the culture seems to, even in, like when you find people even divorcing sometimes, it's like the person who made the money sometimes almost seems to have the sense that I'm the one who brought it in. You were just home with the kids. How would you encourage her to add value, or to feel she's adding value?
I think for me, I'll say value honestly doesn't mean cash. I also once upon a time I was a career lady, doing sales and marketing. Then Ethan came and we had to make a choice, I decided to quit my job so that I could raise Ethan and Sandy. And now honestly, I can say I'm seeing the fruits of it, The fact that I'm raising my own kids without fear that, somebody will either pinch my kids or harm my kids, there's joy in raising your own kids. And like I said, value really doesn't mean you have to bring cash. Yeah. And I think it's all about agreement between you and your husband. Like us, we agreed from the day one that, I'll stay home, raise the kids, he will go, and some cash for the family.
Wow. So I think I bring a very important point about there has to be an agreement between you. Because if your spouse doesn't value what you're bringing, that's already a problem. So there needs to be a conversation that shows why this is such a valuable thing.
Yeah. And I think also there's also a season for everything. There's a season to raise kids, and there's a season to earn. Everything happens in season.
It does.
For me, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
You were a stay-home mom for not too long. It was like 4 years,
Yeah,
maybe?
just about 4 years.
So it wasn't a very long
No,
time.
it wasn't a very long time. I mean, the kids went to school, and so, but one of the things that is that even when the kids went to school, we kind of slowed down our own schedule so that we're home with the kids, and that one has never ended.
Okay.
Just prioritizing family times, prioritizing being with the children, and I believe that there's a temporary setback. That one we must acknowledge, but what the investment there is investing in the future, and that I don't know whether, and that's just invaluable.
Anything to add, Tony? Do you have a comment on that one? I guess you are the husband.
Yeah, I think I probably resonate with what she said. I don't know why she believes that she can only add value when there's cash that is involved, like she's bringing in some money. I think the fact that she's actually she's a stay-at-home mom and she's raising her children. It's actually value. That's value right there. Yeah. I mean, if she was not there, I mean, the husband would be staying home looking for those kids. At that time, he wouldn't be out there, making anything. I mean, we'll be home, looking after these children. So I think that's value, and that's a very important value that she's adding. So I wouldn't want her to believe that she's not contributing to anything in the relationship.
Wow. Well, let me just and we can move to the we'll move to the next dilemma in a second. But I think what I want to say for this person watching this, and for anybody who's struggling with that issue, is yes, we weren't even in it for long. It wasn't like it was just a break for a season when our kids were really young. But I can tell you right now, I mean, our kids are teenagers now. I mean, our first is in college. Our last ones are finishing high school this year. But the most interesting thing for me is that we are friends. Yeah. Like we're really good friends with our kids. And that for me, I'm always in awe of that. Because I don't even remember being good friends with my parents at that age. Like we talk, we hang out, we chat, we have meals together. They actually enjoy spending time with us. And I feel like a big part of it was the decision that we made at that time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just to encourage that person, hey, keep on keeping on. And this is your journey. And don't let other people determine your journey for you. If this is not what God has called you to, then figure out your way. But for anybody who feels this is something we want to do, then don't hesitate. I think it's definitely well worth it.
Yeah. And again, we said if there are any people who are struggling even with this issue,
tell us how you've overcome. Tell us what you've done.
Tell us what you have done.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to the next dilemma. As we said, there were quite a number of dilemmas today that people posted in our Ndoa community. And let me see this one. And this is from someone called Liz. And she says, I've been married for 2 years and blessed with a 1-year-old baby. 5 months ago, we separated because the differences were so many. Now we're working on reconciliation. So well done, Liz. At least you're working on reconciliation. When living together, I would ask him, to go for trips, but he would decline, yet he knows how much I like to travel. He'd always say he doesn't have money. I have a trip planned with my friends from campus, both male and female. I want to go on the trip. Is it okay to go on such a trip? My husband thinks that a married woman should not go on such trips. Please advise. Please advise on this. Now this is very interesting.
So she's saying, basically, I want to go on a trip with my boys and girls, my friends, my college buddies.
My college buddies.
And the trip is to where?
Well, no, she hasn't said where, but it's a trip. And this is a woman who loves to travel.
But the hubby doesn't.
And her husband doesn't. But then she has her friends. And their friends are traveling buddies. They enjoy going out. So,
okay. All right.
Yes, so I don't know. What do you think?
I think Tony should answer that one. Tony, what would you tell someone who tells you this?
She's basically I'm getting used to be under the bus now.
Yeah, just leave there. But I mean, it's like this mama is saying, I want to go out, I want to hang out with my friends. My husband doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, first of all, we were channeled for this same reason. That's why we left each other. We're back now, but I want to go out with my friends. And he doesn't. What do I do? And it's friends of both genders going on a trip together.
What would you tell your wife if you're the husband?
Yeah, let's put it that way. Let's keep it real here.
Maze, just understand that you're the one who doesn't like to travel, but your wife has this opportunity.
Apparently that's how you reason. Yeah? She loves to travel, right?
So we're not making this up.
Yeah, but I think. Well, I think it would be best to try and focus on the one thing that will bring them back together. I mean, if they've been through some rough patches, I think the energy should be focused on doing things they used to like, for both of them. If it's going on dates, they can still go on dates, the two of them. And for faith, the guys or the boys or whatever, trip, that's gonna be there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. But I think her focus right now should be, what is it that we can do to enrich what we had before?
Yeah.
or what it is that we can do to just make sure that we do not get back there again.
Yeah.
Especially if that was one of the things that contributed to where they are at the moment. So yeah, so I think that's what they need to do right now.
Okay. Thank you. So what you're saying
Yeah,
is
and
that is awesome.
yeah, and maybe I wanted to add something. If the man doesn't like traveling, what else does he like? You know, because now he should maybe think about can we do something else? Can we do another activity so that it can bring us together rather than insisting on the travel part?
Okay. So, Vero, we had that you love the travel and Tony doesn't like the travel. How have you dealt with maybe some unfulfilled expectations in your marriage? Because really, this is what is happening to this woman. There's some expectations she had, and you can tell they're really deep. I mean, by the time that they have separated, I mean, they're really deep. So, how have you dealt with some unfulfilled expectations?
I think for us, we've discovered that, marriage is all about compromise. There are some things that I'll do not because I love doing it, but just to be close to Tony. And there are things he will do, especially there are a lot of things he does. Not because he loves doing it, but it's all about compromise. So I think for me, I'm a lady, sometimes it's about compromise. It's not about what you love doing. It's about let's figure out something that we can do together. What do you like doing? Maybe I can, come along, you can tag me along, so that at the end of the day, we'll have that unity as a couple.
Okay. Thank you so much. But okay, maybe I can ask Tony, as a man, your wife is saying she wants to go, and this is the company of both men and women who could be single. And because sometimes when we're looking at this, it's always good to also say if the shoe was, how we've been told to love. Anyway, what comes to mind? Like now, what is in the mind of this man when he hears about this trip? Just from a man's perspective.
I think for me, first of all, I'd be very curious what kind of friends these are. What kind of friends these people are. I like to surround myself with people I can trust. And so that would be the first thing I would probably ask her to convince me that I actually know these people. I've met them. I know, their temperaments. I know what you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And then probably just if it's something she really, really, really wants to do. I mean, 8 years married, I don't think I'll be worried about anything. I'll probably just let her be. But I just, for me, it's just wanting to know who these people are.
Okay, fantastic.
I think I really like the question, and for me, I would say, what is the person's name?
Liz, yeah.
It's interesting because you've been married 2 years. You separated for a part of that because of this issue, and now you're back together. And I think I want to just go back to what Tony said earlier, because I really think this whole thing about, is this the timing? Is this the timing? Because as Tony said, there's a season when you're able to you've built trust, you've built security. This is obviously an issue of insecurity for your husband. There's obviously issues here. I mean, actually, one of the people who was commenting in the Dilemma group actually said, and it was a lady, and I think she said it out of pain, because what she said is, if it was a guy, he would just go. He wouldn't even ask
Yeah.
with his friends.
Yeah.
And I think I just want to say, yeah, that's fair. I mean, sometimes a society can be lopsided that way. We can have unequal expectations. But I actually think what Tony and Veronica are saying is, you know what? The marriage is often not about what I want, but about what we want together. And many times that takes a compromise. Many times that's me saying, I'm dying to self, so I can figure out the things we can enjoy together, and maybe even learning a new language together. And when you talk about what does a guy see, I'm with Tony there. I'm like, you're going with your friends from campus, and some of them are men. I'm a man. I know how men think, especially men who are in campus.
How do they think?
You're going on a you're going on a holiday together. Anything could happen,
Yeah,
and
true.
you've not been married long enough to have built the trust, to have built that security in your relationship. Why do you want to put it at risk just because you want to go on a trip now? you know.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a place where you almost have to say, why did we get married? I guess there's a movie called that. Huh?
Yeah.
Why did I get married? What did you want when you entered into this marriage? And as Veronica says, I mean, that's one of the biggest questions, is to then start saying, what are the things that even drove us together? How can we start looking for things we enjoy doing together? And sometimes, I mean, this is the hard part of marriage. Huh?
It is.
Because marriage really is about growing up.
It's about growing up. I liked what Veronica said. It's about compromises. It's about seeing how can we, this is your interest. Like now, for example, with the B project, I have been there. I if I can say 5 times, I'd be lying, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd really be lying. I mean, it has not been many times. And so, but I'm concerned. I'm like, you know, I actually do want to connect with what you're doing. And so what I told him was that, okay, maybe we can put a little kitchen, you know, so that when I come, at least I can cook, at least I can have something. I'm not interested in putting on bee suits. I'm not interested in any of that, but maybe I can come with a few of my girlfriends. We cook and have fun while you're out seeing bees, you know. So I think it's just understanding how do we tag on to what the other person is interested in, and how do we make it about us?
I think we call it growing together socially and intellectually.
Yeah.
Because remember, we used to teach about 4 intimacies.
The
where
4
you say
intimacies,
the
yeah.
4 areas. And when we were a young couple, by the way, this is something that I learned to pray for my marriage. I didn't just pray, God, give us a good marriage. I'd pray for the 4 areas of intimacy. I'd say, Lord, I want to grow spiritually.
Yeah.
I want to grow emotionally. I want to grow physically, because even sex is not something a given when you're married. It's like we want to grow in our physical expression of that. But I would also pray for our intellectual and social growth together.
Yeah.
And just praying that we'd figure out the things we like to do together, things we like to enjoy together. So maybe that's a place to start saying, okay, I'm now married. It's time to grow up. It's time to start doing things that will help enhance this marriage, because we're together for life.
Yeah.
And how do we then make this thing work for both of us?
Okay.
Yeah. But I say that with all the empathy, because it's not an easy space to
it's
be.
It's not an easy.
I remember feeling, I don't know if you felt this, but just like Tony said, how he married an orderly woman. You marry somebody who's different from yourself, and you feel like they're squashing your dream at some point.
Yeah.
I think every couple goes through this. You just feel like you're just the real you is just being pushed aside.
I remember him complaining that his social life was snuffed out. Can you believe that?
Because I like people, you know, I like being out, I like talking. But Carol likes being together in the house, hanging out with the family. So I felt like it was like my life was just being snuffed.
It was
you know?
flashing before him, a boring life. Anyway, but here we are, 26 years later. And I think it's just saying, okay, so this is the spouse, this is the person who God has given me. What is it that we can begin doing together? What are now common interests that we can develop together so that we grow together?
I love that.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. That was a great answer. Can we do one last one? Let's do one last one, because there were some really good ones, huh? And this one was really about, okay, I like this one. I would like to talk about how to set boundaries in a blended marriage. This is a bigger issue today than it was in the past, where blended marriage really refers to I came in to the marriage either divorced or widowed or whatever, and I had my children. You came in and you had children as well, or one of us came in with children to the marriage. And this person says, where the child has grown up with the mom for several years before she got married, the wife is always supporting the child, even when the child is wrong, and mentioning words like, I've suffered with this child, so you don't even know where we've come from. And this child totally disrespects the man, even in front of the mother, and the mom says nothing. How do you handle this?
Yeah. Is that for me?
Yeah. I'm like, how do you handle this? I mean, that's a really legitimate concern.
That's a very big
So basically what you're saying is I've married the woman. I mean, we love each other. She came in with a child. Whenever there's a crisis, basically the child disrespects because he knows the mom will always protect him defend. And so there's a space in which if I even say something wrong about the child, or if I say this child's misbehaving, we need to do something, it's like, you don't even know how far we've come. Just leave my child alone.
Just leave my child alone.
That's got to be painful.
Yeah. And what I would say is that that this is not unique for the person who wrote that. It is not unique at all.
It happens for both men and women in that situation.
Yeah, it really, really does. And so what I'd first of all like to just mention are some mistakes that especially single moms make, because this one is in reference to a woman. And so I don't know about the mistakes that single men make, who would, single fathers make. But anyway, so there's some common mistakes that single moms make. And one of them is that they allow the past to color the future. And
what does that mean?
Yeah, so of course now how the child was born, how the child was conceived, how the child was born. Sometimes it was a painful season. You never know whether this child was rejected by the extended family. You never know what the rejection by the father meant. And so for this woman, this history, there is pain. Even if she had been married before, even just that divorcing, there is pain. And so what happens is that now, just because of the depth of the pain, it just means that the person just sees the future with the past in mind. And of course, when you're in pain, the thing that you do is to protect yourself. You protect yourself and you protect this child from the rest of the world, which can be seen to be very hostile.
Because you went through pain together. You were a single mom, things were hard,
Yeah, you went through pain together. And so you will now come into the future with that I'm protecting myself and I'm protecting my child. So alongside that protection, the second thing, or the second common mistake, is that of course you're saying, I want to be all that I can be for this child. I'm now the mom and I'm also the dad. I want to provide for this child as if the dad was present. I don't want this child to ever feel that they were less than, or they did not get what other children with moms and dads get. And so the second problem is that they tend to indulge the child, and they're not able to be consistent in their discipline. In fact, there's a thing over there where sometimes, especially for moms, you will see this child as your best friend, as your companion. And yes, I mean, there was the world out there, it's me and this child. And so they begin to become, your friend. But then there's a problem. You're blurring roles. This is a child. They need structure. They need discipline. They need to be raised up as a child. You are the mom, you are the adult in this relationship. And so that, by the way, when you blur those roles and you're not consistent in your discipline, it's very confusing for that child. It works in fact against that child. And then the third one that again is related to just a whole history is that the mom feels that they can do it by themselves. Again, if you had a painful start with this child.
Because you've been doing it all this time.
You've been doing all this time.
Yeah.
And you may feel, the world was against us. And so you're out to prove to yourself and to the world that you can do it. And so you feel that you can do it all by yourself. And so those are some of the three common mistakes that now, like, a single mom is likely to go through.
And that's probably what's happening with this guy right now.
And so now you come into a marriage. And so now that is why you're seeing that there are these issues that are going on. And so, but also let me just talk about in general about blended families.
Okay.
And what I want to say is that the issue of lack of respect, which is what this guy has raised, is common. Unfortunately, it is common. I'm not saying that it's
common,
the right.
It's common in blended families.
It is common in blended families. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it is common. Just even given the issues that I have talked about earlier. And it is common, especially in children who are above 10 years. And it's because, they are struggling. They're struggling to adjust to this new family. Yeah. And so they're likely to have that lack of respect. Now, even for parents, and as I said, for the children, they need to, to be taken through that transition, that they're now a part of a family. But even for parents, it's easy to assume that, we've just come 1 + 1 and we are here. Yeah. It's easy to assume that, nothing much has changed. It's just that now we are living together. But each of the spouses now needs to understand that we are forming a new family. There's a new thing. If I could refer to Isaiah 43 verse 18, it says, and this is what God says, look, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And usually when we fail to perceive that this is a new thing, then we continue managing life or doing life with our old ways. We fail to adjust, and we continue in our old ways, which is now how you find this woman, still talking about you do not know how far we have come from and not being able to discipline the child. And I would say it's because of not perceiving that this is now a new thing.
So basically you're saying, okay, hey, pause. Something new is happening.
Yeah.
It's time for you to understand you cannot continue, you cannot bring the past into your marriage because it's going to destroy the new
It's
thing.
going to destroy, yeah.
I think there's the Bible verse that talks about the new wine that cannot be stored in the old wineskin.
In the old wineskin,
so the wineskin of pain, of hurt, of independence, that's going to have to gotta let it go.
Yeah, you have to let it go and together begin to work through something new. Now, what I would say is that if someone has entered into this marriage, of course you've come in with a lot of baggage and of pain. If you feel that, if you find yourself in this situation, there's always a place to, by the way, seek counseling, to go through your own healing.
Yeah.
Because then you will now be able to appreciate the newness and to appreciate just what it means now to be in a new blended family.
Wow. So, okay, that's so deep. So basically what we're saying is, what Pastor Carol is saying is, hey, understand to the lady, hey, this is the situation. You're not going to help by carrying the pain, carrying that protection of your child. Any thoughts, Vero and Tony, any stuff to add there? You're speaking to a friend, one of the couples comes and tells you, this is my situation. The guy is complaining like, man, I don't feel respected. She doesn't want to, she's protecting the kids even when they've done wrong. What do you say in that situation?
So incidentally, we actually, we have friends who actually are in that kind of situation. I remember when what I like about that is that they sort of, when they were dating, they would actually go on the dates with the kids as well.
Wow.
To just sort of introduce the kids to this guy, not in the home, but in a safer environment, probably a picnic or whatever. So the kids actually get to know him a little earlier than when they actually even settle down in the house. So, and I like that because it actually gave the kids, because the kids here are actually the ones you want them to be, to respect the man who's coming into your life. The kids would watch how you relate with your boyfriend or your fiancé at the time, and so this actually really helped in the transition into their home, because now then the kids were able to relate. This is the man of the house. This is give this guy respect as a dad.
That's awesome.
And I like what they shared, and I think they don't have a problem with that as of now.
I love that.
So
include the children.
Anyone out there in the same situation, of course, encourage them to, just have a way of how you introduce your kids to, your new partner.
I love that. Vero, anything to add on that? Any comment on that?
Well, I don't think I can adhere to it. But I suppose that the man should also communicate the same to the wife. As in the way you taught us, this is the thing that is disturbing me. Communicate to your spouse how it makes you feel, rather than keeping quiet. Keep it boiling off.
I love that. Okay, so this is really good stuff, and I think one of the things I'll also just add as we speak is just to say, it's to your interest as the parent of the children in a blended marriage that your spouse loves those kids, that your spouse accepts those kids, that your spouse covers spiritually those kids and sees them as theirs. That protectiveness that Carol was speaking about, that space where you feel it's me to look after my kids, that is actually detrimental to your children, because anything could happen to you. You've come into this marriage, you've brought a new father in. You want him to be at the place where even if you're not there, he's still the cover, he's still the protector. Yeah. But when you build that wall of defiance, when you protect it, when you say, look, my kids are perfect, don't touch them, or I'm the only one who can talk to them, when you don't include your spouse, then what you're doing is just creating a wall of division between your child and your spouse. You are destroying your own home, I think is a way to put it. So I think I completely agree. But I hear what Vera is saying, because she's saying, listen, as a man, also you need to understand how to start having conversations with your spouse that are able to be in a peace, because this could be a hot button issue. Huh? So, okay, first of all, how do you deal with somebody when it's a very emotive issue? Like you're just thinking, if I touch this, by the way, do you guys have those emotional issues in your marriage? There's some situations where you just know if I touch here, it's like fireworks happen.
Fire.
So that's probably one of those fireworks issues. How would you advise? How would you advise this guy to go about it?
Like, I remember we had a fireworks. And
We did?
Yeah, we did.
When?
Oh,
Us.
Yes.
We're not perfect.
We also had that opportunity.
We are far from perfect.
We are far from perfect.
Yes.
I remember there's one time we were having a conversation in the supermarket. In fact, it was Uchumi in Gom Road before it closed. I mean, many years ago.
Yeah.
And it was such a hot topic. And as we had that conversation, we realized, we stopped ourselves and we realized we do not have what it takes to complete this conversation and for the two of us to remain friends and even married sometimes.
It was a hot topic.
It was such a hot topic. And so what we did is that we actually got a referee. We actually got a couple.
We stopped and called a friend.
In fact, we were like, let's not even have this conversation. We said parks. So we finished the shopping, drove home nicely, called our friends who might have come even the next day, but we had agreed we can't even have this conversation.
Actually, they came that day.
Oh, they came that day.
Yeah.
So, and we had a conversation with them, and what they did is that they just got us to talk. They didn't
listen to each
to
other.
just listen to each other.
Yeah.
I remember them just saying, "Okay, Carol, what are you saying?" I talk. Okay, Muriithi, what are you saying? And by the end of it, we actually came to a solution ourselves. And so, if this is a hot button, I think that's what we would say: get in a friend, a couple friend, and hear each other out, and also hear their counsel. I think it will help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony, what have you found helps when you just are in that emotional space where you know this one is a bit too hot to handle? How do you deal with that communication part?
Wow. I think for us, this those ones we started those ones I think around year 3, and I think what we discovered is that when we are there, we probably are going to say things we shouldn't say, and so we learned to just give each other time to speak. But we have our own ground rules. No shouting over the top. I could actually, I could still be able to hear you. And so, hello.
Yeah, we're there.
We
We're
can
there.
hear you.
We love it.
Hello. So I think for us we just discovered that if I just let her talk, I just give her enough time and listen to her. Believe me, we are going to get to a place where we actually are able to understand each other. So we haven't gotten to that place where we're saying let's bring someone else here. Around time, year 2, year 3, and we sort of discovered how we can go around that.
Wow. Tony, you're wise beyond your years. That's it takes many men many years to discover that little secret. I'm still discovering it. Go
I
ahead,
remember
Carol.
Pastor Muriithi, when we were actually 1 year or 2 years married, every Sunday we'll have a meeting, the two of us, where we'll say, tell me your strength and your weaknesses, and area of improvement.
So we used to do SWOT analysis.
Analysis.
My goodness.
So Tony will keep quiet, then I talk, yeah. I tell him everything that is insisting me about.
So I keep doing them more.
Yes, so I keep doing.
But in mind, I still keep what I'm doing and it's insisting about.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Excellent.
we should.
So I mean, it's never perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still learning, by the way. 9 years is still learning. For both of us.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's amazing. You guys are just incredible. We have a lot to learn from you.
Yeah, I love that. We should learn such analysis.
I think us guys are still Okay, what's the last domestic you and I had, like a disagreement, hot button issue?
But I don't remember a hot button issue, but today we had one.
And it was what?
It was an idea that I had about how some marketing something should happen.
And what was your problem?
What do you mean, what was my problem?
So why were you pissed, or what?
Because you were not listening.
Sinana, it's like we need counseling, clearly. So even from the guys who are running this program. So I'm learning, like Tony says, that when you give your wife a listening ear,
It was so therapeutic.
it's therapeutic. She lets it out,
Oh,
she
it was
speaks,
amazing.
and then she feels heard, and
I agree.
Yes, that's all I needed.
and then she feels heard. You see, the problem for men is we are problem solvers, isn't it? It's like you hear a problem, you want to be like,
it's true.
okay, here are the 4 points. So I get confused when my wife is like, I don't want points, I
Yeah.
want to be heard.
Yes.
See, for me, when I tell you my problems, I
Yeah.
don't want to be heard. I want solutions. And that's where men are from
That's
Mars,
where-
women are from Venus, where some of those fireworks start erupting.
Yeah.
So just to encourage any
Yeah.
couples out there, any men out there, learn to listen. Give your wife a good listening ear. Learn to say things like, really? That's how you felt?
Yes.
That works.
Yes, it works.
Wow,
Especially
wow, wow.
that's how you felt and you mean it.
I do mean it. I say it and I mean it. Huh? But I learned when you start to ask questions like that, my goodness, the wife just unburdens, she feels good, she's relieved.
Yeah,
And the
yes.
problem passes
She's
without you
lost.
having to solve it,
Yeah.
So very hard thing for men.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do let's see whether there are last minute comments or questions. I
Yeah.
can see Carol Muriithi tuned in and blessed from Kigali. That's Kagenza.
Oh,
Is he
let me
back in
see.
Kigali?
Kagenza, is that you? Just say yes if it's you.
Okay, because I know he was stuck in New York at
He
some
was
point.
stuck, yeah, probably.
Wangeshi, I like that, growing in intimacy, socially, intellectually, spiritually, and physically, and intentionally praying over each area. So we can see that. This was for the first one.
For the first question.
Enoch said, adding value is more than adding to the family finances. There are couples who decide to sacrifice the wife's income and the benefits of 2 salaries for the sake of their kids and making their house a home. I love that, because what Enoch is saying is, listen, this is actually an investment. And you know something, that is so smart, Enoch, because it's actually an investment to say, rather than make money and then hope our kids can inherit this money, rather than make money and the pretext we're making it for our kids and then we finish and they're not even there, let's make a decision, a strategic decision. One of us can actually make sure the home is running smoothly. So that by the time we're done with this, we're able to hand over to the next generation, a stable and intact next generation. We know too many stories of wealthy people whose kids have no interest, and I'm talking about even people I know in my family, relatives. Kids have no interest at all in pursuing what the parents took years to build. And so I think Enoch is saying this is good language for men to understand, because
Yeah,
he's
I
really
think
talking about it's a wise investment when you choose to do that. So I love that.
Nyambura Irene gives an example, because she too was a stay-at-home mom, and she says that I stayed home for 7 years, learned but took the time off. I had the same feelings. Yes, those feelings are real. But I remember someone telling me the value I bring to the table is bringing up my children in the best way by being there. My payment is seeing how they grow up to be responsible and God-fearing children. And I was able to keep track of their character or habits. My reward from God was that I eventually got a good job.
Nice.
It's been 3 years since. God is not unjust to forget our labors, including sacrificing to take care of our children. And I would say for you, Nyambura, you're not the only one who God rewarded. We also know someone else who God rewarded in an amazing way, another woman, for staying at home. And so as you're doing it unto God, because by the way, God is so interested in those children, very interested in the children,
Yeah.
and interested in that family. So when you make the sacrifice, God sees it and He rewards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this is somebody who says, okay, it's kind of like a dilemma. Maybe we wouldn't have time to go through it, but I'll just read it. Maybe we can look at it through. We can actually answer it this week sometime on social media.
Yeah.
This person says, I love my spouse. We're 5 years married, blessed with 1 child. The problem is finances. This one came on the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
He never is open about his finances. He knows exactly how much I make and bring to the table. He will even see me go to the extent of borrowing from
Wow.
Mshwari and Fuliza to pay for necessities, but won't chip in because he says he has no money. Only for him to send cash to his friends and family shortly after. If he gives money today, he does not want to be told there's
Wow.
something missing tomorrow. He'll be mad the whole time, and yet he loves eating mapocho. It always makes me end up in debt. Or for those who are not from Kenya, that means the nice things, the sweet things.
Yeah.
It always makes me end up in debt, and I'm totally drained and on the verge of walking away. I think what I want to say is don't walk away.
Yeah.
Maybe I can throw Tony and Veronica. Was there a time when you just felt very discouraged to the point of almost walking away? Did you guys ever get there? Or you've always been in love and everything has been sweet and beautiful for you guys? Was there ever a time when you were just very discouraged in your marriage?
I mean, there were moments that you would feel, you know what, this is not, this is not what I signed up for, and you could actually just feel the frustration. So yeah, those moments have been there. But like I said, and I remember pretty much, I think the first 3 years, the second year and the third year is when actually, I don't know about her, but actually I was working in that place, and I could sense that I'm actually, I needed to probably voice out to her what is going on in my mind, because I realized if I just stayed silent, I probably would have gone down, a rabbit hole and probably never come back. So I thought probably the best thing was to sit her down and just bare my heart, and just tell her this is where I am, this is where my heart is at this moment, and I'm feeling frustrated, and I don't know if this would actually be able to go beyond this. So I know we said marriage is about compromises. That is the one thing I didn't want to compromise about. And I felt really, really low. I don't know about her, but those comments has been there. The thing is, here's the thing. I think just opening up on communication, that opens up a lot of things. And it's actually the hardest thing to do at the point. She's the last person I want to sit next to pour my heart into,
Yeah.
But she's probably the only person able to sit down and share these things. Because, and hope to God that she understands what you're going through. Because from there, you'd actually feel, a way off. She might not even have the answers then. She might be shocked you're feeling these things.
Yeah.
But then again, she just be silent and realize this is how probably I made him feel. And you also give her a chance to, just also, say her piece.
I love that.
Yeah,
So
we want to close.
let me ask you, Vero, you guys have a marriage program that you take people through. Tell us a bit about it. Maybe there are people here who would be interested in it. It's called For Keeps. What do you guys do in your program, and who is it for?
Oh yeah, it's called For Keeps Marriage and Family Network. We counsel couples. We really do have premarital counseling for one-on-one, where even those guys who are married can still join and have a candid discussion about matters to do marriage. Yeah, we have seminars that, we invite people like you, Pastor Muriithi, classes your wisdom. Yeah.
Yeah, so and a lot of experiences. We realize that couples don't like to learn from experiences and not just sitting and probably listening, but hearing what people have actually been able to go through and manage. So we also incorporate experiences in the ministry too.
I love
So
that.
we do a lot more. I think probably
So
might be able to explain a lot more there.
if somebody went to your Facebook page, would they find more about you? Is it For Keeps?
Yes, For Keeps Marriage and Family Network.
Yeah.
Keeps Marriage. Okay, so there it is, For Keeps Marriage and Family Network, guys. As you're listening to this, check them out. Our hope is we can give you as many resources as we can give you to help you have a thriving, amazing marriage and connect you with as many mentors, as many peers, as many good people. Because one of the things that I believe that we need is to see examples of marriages working.
Yeah.
Many times I think the discouragement comes from the fact that you just feel you're alone in this.
Yeah.
And you feel like you must be the one who's going through this and nobody else has ever gone through it. But I think just being around people who are there, they've been there, but here they are, they're thriving because they made a decision. And I think it'll strengthen you, encourage you to keep going. So, hey, thank you so much, Tony and Vero. It's amazing having you guys. We've put a link on both Facebook and YouTube. If you would like to join the Ndoa couples community, please feel free to join that. Click on the link. It's a place where we send you inspiration, we send you mentoring information, but more than that, we connect you with a community of people who are seeking to grow in their marriages. And there's so many good resources out there. But the first place is just connecting with like-minded people and beginning this journey together. So we're really, really excited that every one of you watched with us tonight. Thank you for all of you who are watching on Facebook from different countries across the world. We're just so honored that we can invite you into our home and just have you enjoy this evening with us and our good friends over here. So next week, we're going to have our next episode, and who knows what the dilemmas are. Join the group, and then you can actually be able to send us your own dilemmas as well. Would love to receive your dilemmas so we can tackle them. Who's going to be our mystery guest? We have no idea.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. But we tell you what, it's going to be somebody amazing. Haven't these guys been amazing? I think they've been incredible. So please just give them a shout out. Thank you, Tony and Vero. It's really great to have you. Let me just ask if one of you could ask if one of you could just pray for the couples, because today even the couples, some of the issues raised were issues with pain. The issues where people are in a deep place, a place of deep pain. So I don't know which one of you, maybe you can agree between yourselves, who would just say a blessing prayer over those couples as we conclude our time this evening.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, Jehovah Father. We thank you for your wisdom, for your knowledge and understanding, Almighty God, Father. We ask you, Lord, may you bless each and every couple represented here today, Jehovah Father. You know them, Father, you know them individually, Father, you know their struggles, Almighty God, Father, and you know their needs, Almighty God, Father. And we ask you, Lord, may you meet them at the point of need, Jehovah. May all that are broken in this, Almighty Father, them divine in their lives, Almighty God, Father. May you shape them, may you use them, Almighty God, Father, with everything